This week's parasha, Parashat Acharei, the very first pasuk starts off reminding us of the deaths of Nadav and Avihu. Acharei, the two sons of Aharon, Nadav, Avihu, they went Lifnei Hashem, they went into parts of the Mishkan they weren't allowed to go into, and then they died. And we spoke in the past, one of the main reasons brought down a Hazal that they died was because they wanted to get too close to Hashem. They really had this deep excitement and desire to be as close to Hashem as possible. This wasn't the first time they've done this. They did this earlier when they were metzitz, when they looked where they weren't supposed to look and saw the Shechina, and now they're also trying to go. So I saw an unbelievable Dvar Torah that I think actually connects this deep desire. We're always going to have this deep desire to get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to know our boundaries. So in the Haftarah for Shabbat HaChodesh, it's in Yehezkel, in Perek Mem Vav, Pasuk Yud Gimel. So in the very end of Sefer Yehezkel, Yehezkel is giving a prophecy for the third Beit HaMikdash. What's going to be in the times of Mashiach? What's it going to be like in the third temple? And he goes through the daily, what kind of offerings are going to be brought? How are they going to inaugurate it? He's going through a lot of the details of the temple, the third temple. And then he says as follows. He says, the keves is Pasuk Yud Gimel, the keves ben shenato tamim ta'aseh olah. And he says, each day you should offer up a lamb of the first year without a blemish. So you have to offer up this keves for an olah. Baboker ta'aseh oto. And it should be brought every single morning as an olah to Hashem. So I saw some of the Mefarshim want to learn this as discussing like a special chinuch offering for the Miluim when they were inaugurating the third temple. They're going to have to learn and how to know how to do things properly. But the Radak says it's actually referring to this kevis that you bring every single morning is the Korban Tamid. So it's saying about the Korban Tamid in the future. But the Radak asks the question, he says, I don't understand. We know that the Tamid is brought twice, once in the morning and once in the late afternoon. Beina Arbaim, it's brought in the late afternoon. We have the Tamid of the afternoon. Why does this pasuk, if it's talking about the Tamid, why is it only referring to the daily offering in the morning and not the afternoon? So it says the Radak, Nira shelo ya'aseh la'atid ela olat haboker. He says that it seems to him that in the future, in the times of Mashiach, we're only going to bring the Korban Tamid once in the morning. And the Hida actually writes based on the Maser Rekach. He says that why is there's a Masechet called Masechet Tamid? Why is it called Masechet Tamid, not Masechet Tamidim? Why is it in singular, not plural? It's as a hint, Latid Lavo, and the Bait Sherishi, there's only going to be one Tamid offering, only one constant daily offering in the morning, and not one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Okay, here's the idea that I saw. Says Sefer Ahavat Yehonatan. This is Rav Yonatan Eipshitz on the Haftarot. He says as follows. He says the Tamid Shel Shachar, the morning Tamid, that was brought in the past. Why? It's the Mechaper al Hirurei Halev, for the thoughts that we had that were improper thoughts. The Tamid Shel Ben Arbaim, and he says the afternoon, the late afternoon Tamid, that's going to be from a mistake when you're learning at night, because at night you're going very quick and you can make certain kind of mistakes. So therefore, that's the afternoon one is for the mistakes that we make at night when we're learning and we're doing okay. But he says, La'ati lavo, in the future, we're not going to have this kind of nighttime stuff. We're going to have an or. We're going to have this great light, and we're not going to need the Tamid Shel Bein HaArbaim. I guess he's referring to the fact that we're going to have like the major da'at. We're going to know everything. We're going to be able to learn properly, and we're not going to have these issues. Even when it's coming to the sinning, it's like the Hirurei Halev. We're going to have that as well. So he says as follows. Rak la Tamid Shel Shachar. We're going to need the morning Korban Tamid. Why? Lechaper al hetzitzam b'shchina. To bring a kapara for when we look at the Shechina. When we're looking, because even in Latid Lavo, Shezeh Yechata'am La'atid, says you want to know what's going to be the sin in the future in the times of Mashiach? It's going to be the sin of trying to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shechina, trying to get a glimpse of God, trying to go and see what we're not supposed to see. So meaning this het of Nadav and Avihu, this holy sin of Nadav and Avihu that's always written Lifnei Hashem, they did it before God. That's going to be the sin of the Jewish people in the future when we no longer have that yetzer, hara, whatever that means, when we no longer have all the issues we have in the past, but we're still going to have that one desire, because that's going to be the time of really seeing HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're going to be neheneh miziva shechina, but sometimes we're going to make that mistake and look where we're not supposed to look. That's going to need the teshuvah of the tamid in the morning, and that's why there's still going to be one tamid only in the morning to mechaper on that great desire. Shabbat shalom.